This section of tags we're going to be looking at are structural tags. And because we're working with HTML5, there are a whole bunch of new structural tags that were introduced in HTML5. So let's take a look at first the old tags that were used for structure, and then some of the new tags. So I'm going to delete all my code, so I'm just left with the blank body here again. And the primary tag that was used for web design for really the last 15 years has been the div tag. And div stands for division. So we open a div and we close a div, and then we have content inside of the div tag. Now the div tag by nature, if I save this and come back to my page and refresh, it just shows the words. So the div tag is kind of an invisible tag. You can't really see anything special about it. It just looks like words. And that's because it's a structural tag. It's a tag that's used to define structure and width and context to a page. You can see from this slide that some of the new structural tags in HTML5 allow us to better semantically define our website. So whereas before in HTML4 we would have used the div tag for every single one of these blue boxes. This would have been a div, this would have been a div, this would have been a div, div, div. But now with HTML5 we have dedicated tags that have some inherent meaning in them, like the header tag and the footer tag and the article tag, a nav tag for navigation, a side tag to designate an aside content like a sidebar or something similar. So we have these extra tags which just help define our structure of our web page a little bit better. Occasionally students will ask me, well, why should I use header instead of div if they do the exact same thing? And the reason is that for search engines and other internet robots, they don't know the difference between two divs, but they do know the difference between header and nav, for example. So they would better be able to structure your web page and be able to tell, oh, this section of code here is responsible for the navigation of the website. Whereas if it was just div and div, they might have to make an educated guess on what section contained your navigation. So by using these HTML5 tags, you better allow search engines and other similar bots to index and structurally present your code. So let's jump back here to our browser again. So div is one of the structural tags, and the header tag and those other HTML5 tags, they just go like this. They're just similar, but they're just header content. And another one is called the section tag. A section tag is another structural content tag, and these would just all make up particular sections of your website. Now let's save this and jump back here to our web browser and refresh, and you can see those just stack up on top of one another. They don't do anything special by default. They just define structure to your code. In order to actually move these tags around so that it mimics this layout, so the aside is over here and the article is over here and they appear in this flow, I would use CSS. That's the power of CSS. Remember, it's responsible for the presentation, alignment, and style of objects. So in order to get my article this particular width and this thing to the side of this, I would use CSS to do all of those things. So HTML tags simply define the structure, whereas the CSS defines the presentation. So those are a few of the structural tags. We'll look at a couple more tags in the next video.